climactic. I thought we had a pretty nice one today. Talk about how that's different than other kind of counter trend approaches that we see. Okay, but let's get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for February 10th, 2020. Q's up 1%. We got another 14 minutes or so, and SPY up about 0.5%. Okay, coming into today, okay, on Friday, we talked about underneath Friday's low here on the Qs and on the SPY, neutral. Because in order for us to get some kind of bearish bias, I need to see some follow through because we are going to be right into support here, right? Same on the Qs here, right into this consolidation here, okay? I would need to see follow through to the downside and then the next entry, right? Like I was saying, 2 setups away from being bearish on the short term here on the Qs and SPY, and definitely need a lot more to be bearish on the weekly, the monthly. But we would need to break and then show follow through in order for me to go to a bearish bias. The next sell setup after that, the next base after that, then I would have to see that in order for us to be bearish. What did we do? We gapped down just a tiny bit and then immediately back to bullish, right? So, you know, that's the reason I was saying I need to see more. We can't just get underneath a couple bottoming tails here. We can't just get underneath the 20 MA here, right? We really need to see follow through because we're going to be right into more support. The most bearish that I could be is neutral, and then, you know, if we rally from there, right, just continuation of the larger time frame. That's why I spent a video last week talking about time frame alignment, right? Because as long as the daily, the weekly, monthly remain strong, expect that these short-term little pullbacks, sometimes you don't even get much of a pullback, to be rather short in duration because they're working against the larger time frame trend. Now going into tomorrow, it's going to be bullish. All right, so expect that sell-offs will get bought, okay, and that we continue higher. Okay, so we're still not seeing what we would want to see for any kind of top in the market. All right, bullishness continues, okay? All right, let's take a look at today's setups, today's plays here. There's a very nice call here on the work. Okay, work was a climo here underneath this 2-minute bar here. Okay, and this was only called once, right off the top there. And what I want to point out to you is the way that it put in this top. Okay, and so look at the way that these bars are small, then they get bigger, then we have one of the biggest ones up here at the top as it sets up this entry, which is you get a little bit of acceleration, see away from the 2-minute 20 MA, and then it puts in that bar, right, kind of a reversal bar, and then underneath that bar and top there, okay? So I wanted to point out the features of this work that separate it from something like the PCRX, okay? So the PCRX, which I think it's not a bad example and it's not even a bad idea to look for a short on this, right? Because I especially like what's happening here on the daily. Multiple bars up. Now, it's not that we're necessarily saying, oh, once it puts in this kind of top, you know, it's going to fall and go to zero. It's that we are expecting it to retrace back. And the targets on the work were the 2-minute 20 MA and the 5-minute 20 MA. Those are the targets because it was a mini. So you can see here's the targets, right? So we are looking for reversion to the mean because it did accelerate up, okay? But look at this PCRX. Look at the minimal amount of acceleration. You know, so I do, you know, even though I said I like this daily, we can watch it. You know, I still see people sometimes say, let's short this PCRX up here. And, you know, well, maybe, you know, for you and your plan, it's worth a shot. To me, there's just no setup here to short this. Okay, the difference in the way that this has done the grind up here into this potential right base here, and then expecting this to roll over, I think you're gonna be wrong more times than you're right. And if you, unless you can get really big targets when you are right, it's gonna be tough. Okay, so make sure that if you're looking to play these counter trend plays, climactics, that you know what you're looking for. You don't even have to play necessarily counter trend the same way. It doesn't even have to be climactics. I think the tough thing is that we often are told, or maybe we come into the market thinking, buy low, sell high. And so you can see the reason that these are highlighted here is that, I get these questions pretty much daily. Just like, what do you think about buying? I think at the time was here, right? And for me, this isn't a play. It's shown too much weakness. Now I understand it is coming into potentially some support here on the daily at the time, but it's shown so much weakness. And again, we see the grind, right? When it is grinding, when you're having people step up and try to buy this and have to be proven wrong, those become potential sellers, right? And so again, notice how the biggest bars start up here, and then we're getting small bars, right? This is sustainable. Work, on the other hand, bars are getting bigger up at the top, not as sustainable. Okay, so I think it's the thing where we're trying to maybe be the hero here, where sometimes things are just grinding low, or we're thinking this is going to be the top, because of the 20 MA, because of the daily this or that, right? The daily support, right? And so there's a big difference if you're going to be playing counter trend to something like acceleration, expansion away from the 20 MA, right? Versus something that is just grinding, right? So the question is, how, if you're going to play these grinds to try and play counter trend, how many times are you willing to be wrong in order to finally maybe catch the bottom, right? And then, what is your target going to be on the way back up? Okay. So, it's the kind of thing that hopefully by being in the room, by taking the calls, like work was called, right? PCRX, HPQ, neither of these were called like PCRX short or HPQ long or anything like that. But, it's the kind of thing that I see commonly mentioned as trades by, people who are maybe still trying to figure out kind of what their setup should be, what they should go after, what they like, and so hopefully by putting these, comparing them, I think the PCRX and the work make for good kind of side-by-side comparisons, because we're comparing them on the same day, right? So it wasn't even an issue where, one was on a different day where the market was doing something different. Same day, right? Both looking like, maybe there's something to kind of fade there or pick the top, right? And very different in the way that they set up. And clearly one worked much better than the other. Okay. So hopefully if you do like playing counter trend, but you're looking maybe to make that strategy a little bit more precise, there's definitely some videos out there that we've made previously about this climactic strategy. And so, that'll help tell you kind of what kind of entry time frame you should be looking at. Also, really important, what kind of targets you should be, because this is a really bullish move, right? This is really bullish, just got ahead of itself. So it's not that we're saying, that you get in it and it's going to go to zero. And the difference between a winning play and a losing play can be, what is your target, right? Because if your target's down here, right, you may not get it. So the important thing is also to know what the target should be. And on something like this, which is classified as a mini, which is coming from what the daily chart is doing, right? This is going to be 2 minute and 5 minute. Okay, those are the targets where you cover the short. Okay, all right. So, I've been seeing a lot more climactics lately follow through pretty well. So, it's something that I think if we get more of, it is great. So, Hopefully this will also help you find them, know what to look for, and manage them accordingly. Okay. We should still have plenty of trading this week. We're just getting started, and so plenty of earning season still left is really what I mean to say. Okay, so looking forward to that. All right, and we'll be back at it tomorrow. Q's and SPY still bullish going into tomorrow. All right, and I'll talk to you then. Have a good evening.